Hi, everyone. As we get started in week two, thank you for your patience in week one. I had some issues with the due dates. So I think I have gotten those all worked out for you and hopefully smooth sailing now. So, week two, we go through and we continue with chapter three. This first 2 weeks really goes a little bit slower, so I wanted you to anticipate what's going to happen in week three, which is we have 4 chapters. That's where we start going over the different types of crimes and we cover a lot of information. So if you find yourself with a little bit of free time this week, please start reading ahead and know that that is coming next week. Week two, we go through and we start looking at really how we define what a crime is. The concept of mens rea and actus reus are very important elements of any type of crime. An element is the criteria that is necessary to prove a crime. So that's almost always going to be part of the elements of what the prosecution would have to prove in order to establish that somebody is responsible for whatever crime they've been charged with. So as you go through module two, I have focused the discussion boards on the Idaho versus Koberger case to try to give you an example of what that looks like in practice. Your first discussion board has you go through and talk about what are the elements of murder, and then in Idaho, and then has you compare that to what that is in your particular state. So whatever state you're in, choose your state as the second part of that discussion board. The other discussion board is directly related to the Idaho versus Koberger case, but it's really focused on how are the documents created. So one of our learning outcomes for this week is to identify the elements of a case brief. So I've provided you with a non-dissemination order and case brief that talks about the non-dissemination. We know that as a gag order, so that's what that term means. I really just want you to have that example of what it looks like, what are the elements with that, how do you write something like that. So I gave you both the document of the order as well as the brief, and then I gave you a video. It's about an hour long where they argued um, that very issue for the non-dissemination order. So take a look at those things. Make sure you give yourself time to work through this week. It's a little bit lighter than it will be next week. So if you do have that time, be sure to take advantage of that and read ahead a little bit. Good luck this week. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me on Teams. That is the fastest way to get to me. With summer hours, I want to make sure that I am as responsive as possible. Email is okay, but I promise you I can get to you faster if you message me via Teams. Have a great week.